That's not our main focus in the big data analysis. Okay, so this is the final output that we can get. So output of the MapReduce programming is another file in HDFS. So you need to download. To see the file, you need to download the file to your local client, the file system, then finally you can open the file. Okay, so little bit details. It's not code yet. I will show you the code later. So this is just a high level overview of the MapReduce programming. It's a little bit more, it's kind of a pseudocode of the MapReduce program. For the mapper, so input is, what is the input is? The key and value pair. Key and value, output is intermediate. INT here is intermediate key, intermediate value. Intermediate key, intermediate value. That is our goal. So class map, input is the input key and input value, and output is the intermediate key, intermediate value. It's a list. Okay, as you can see, it's the as many, the list. Okay, or iteration, iteration value. Okay. So most of the program, MapReduce program in the data system, they start with offset and the line. Why? Because in big data, the Hadoop system, starting from the analyzing and managing the text data, which is separated by the new line. Like the log data, think about the log data or any other the text data is a new line. So it's usually it's kind of pattern. Okay, start with the offset and the line. Then using the regular expression, or even you can implement by yourself to extract the you are interested. So you are getting close to your target. Word and number of the word. Word and number. Word and number. You are getting close. So you should be able to design the MapReduce. So somebody said the MapReduce program is not programming. Programming itself is very simple. It's kind of template. Instead, the designing map, key, and value are more important. This one is straightforward. You can just sum. But sometimes very, very complicated. You need to implement this MapReduce. It's a one step, one program. You should have 5 or 6, sometimes 10 MapReduce programs. For example, if you convert the SQL, like the group by, so how can you do the group by? Like the number of average salary per the department. You can select the department number and average salary from the employee and group by the DNO. That's it. But in MapReduce programming, it will be very, very complicated. Really, really complicated. Okay, so your job is to design this one, the key and value. So value is the contents of this serve, and eventually you want to get this, the key and value. Somebody may be curious, why is 1? We don't want to run or execute any operation. It's just 1 itself. Then later we can sum up in the reducer. That's the only operation. That's the only algorithm that you can do. Okay? Then sometimes we want to consider uppercase only, lowercase. If you do not differentiate, it depends on your part, the requirement. Okay? So you can apply the upper or the lower. So that is frequently used function. So it depends on your programming, like the Java provides such a library, and the mapper, the map live class provides such a function also. Also sometimes you can, it's called emission, which means you can separate. So for example, from the, what is the value of this one? So entire line. Our goal is to emit the entire line by word. Also, if your goal of this application is count number of character. So you need to emit, you need to separate by character. Okay? At that time, for each line or for each character, you can use such a conditional or the loop function used in your programming, mostly Java programming. So if you know the basic Java programming, it's not a big deal to implement, to use such a for loop. Okay? Also, if you are familiar with the regular expression, it's very, very helpful. So, if you never heard about the regular expression, why don't you search after class? And also, if you never used the regular expression, so we are using Java for the MapReduce program. Why don't you search the Java regular expression? That will be very, very helpful. Most of the shell programming languages, including Python, Perl, any shell programming, they support very strongly regular expression. Okay? I think the more than half of the algorithm, that is a regular expression in the shell programming. Sometimes, so you can use your own function like the isPrime. If you implement such a class or the function, in this case it's called the filtering, you try to get only the prime number. I try to get only the vowel or consonant. It's a filtering. So you can implement such a filtering function or your own class, whatever that is, so you can apply to get only the full either prime number. Okay? Then we can get such a key and value. So this is a prime, this is a prime, this is a key. 48 7 times, the full 13 times. Like so your job is to design the map at the key and value. Also next, you should be able to manage, to handle the data, like the uppercase or lowercase in the string or the filtering. So that is the main job of your mapper. Also, you can change it, the key part, like this is something, the sequence number. So I try to use the number of characters as the key, if you need to use it later. Okay. So next thing is we try to shuffle and sort by this one. You need to consider. So you need to design such a MapReduce. Other, in this case, is identity. Okay, identity means whether it's a unique one. So that's also another function that you can apply. After mapping, we can reduce by using value. So like for example, how many JPG? JPG is one here, only one. So it's 3992. And GIF, so 1231 and 3997 will be combined, and in the reducer it will be in this case it's not specified, so depending on the requirement, like the sum or average, you can apply such algorithm in the reducer. So this is called intermediate form. So this is the end of output of mapper. Then reducer will combine by the key, then do processing. Okay, so in the reducer, the intermediate key and values, it's a list. So then, in this case, I think it's average. It's a sum. Yeah, it does. I don't know what is the whatever. I don't know whether this is the average or the sum. Okay. Anyway, so this is the job of the reducer. Okay. So this is an example of a reducer. Most popular one is a sum, which means just add up all the values by key. Okay. That's the most popular one, like the Google Flu. So you can do average. So like in this case 1, in this case this. And in this case identity. So you can combine all together, which is the same. Okay, that is the key item, map and reduce. Okay. Then later, maybe end of the map reduce lecture, I will show you some patterns of a map reduce program. The most popular one is the summation. Summation may include the average, or the maximum, or minimum. Okay, it's the same idea. And also count. And there are other, like the join. You can do the join with the map reduce. You can do the other, the algorithm data structure using map reduce. I will introduce later. So this is a later. Any questions so far? I know, first time it's not easy to understand the concept of the map reduce. The best way is understand the source code. So from now on, I'm going to introduce the very basic map reduce program, that is the word count. Looks like the hello world in any programming language. So there are three main classes in map reduce programming. Okay, one is the driver. What is a driver in Java programming? That execute, that use the class, right? So then you have the implemented class based on your design and implementation. We have one is mapper, another one is reducer. So driver in the driver program is a main. Okay, it has a main method. In terms of a C program, it's a main function. So it's a driver. Then we have two functions, two classes, mapper and reducer. So we will use mapper and reducer in the driver code. It can be all together in one file. So you have the one A dot, probably same as the name of the driver code. Okay. I assume that you know the CS 101 and 102 Java programming or OOP programming. OOP, which program language you use? C++. C++. It's if you know the C++, it's almost the same concept. But if you never use the Java, you should spend more time to understand the Java. I'm not going to explain details about the Java itself. Okay, so this is an overview of the map reduce data flow and in terms of the class that you are going to use. So first, from the input file, the input format, okay, the class, you are not going to directly use this one, okay. Some of them are just the default, but anyway, the input file will be split by using the input format, okay. By what? By block, okay. So we are going to learn the several mapper by the block by block split. Okay. Then each file block, for example, 128 megabyte block will be split by record. Then in your code, right now you don't have to actually implement it. As long as you are using the default, it will be automatically done. Then using what? Record reader. So think about remind, what is the main purpose of the map reduce? It tries to provide all the housekeeping job, no additional code. Then you can focus on your algorithm. So in your mapper, in your implementation, that's the dot line covered. This part you need to implement how to extract, how to emit the value, how to manage, how to filter out, how to prepare the map, the key and values. So that is your mapper. And partitioner, I'm going to introduce later for the partitioner. Okay. Then shuffle and sort is to simplify, to make the intermediate form. Then send this data. Actually, there is a transfer, network transfer. Okay, along the node. It's a different node. So send the data to the reducer. Then using output format, you can write the output. In your reducer code, you need to implement your algorithm, like the summation or sometimes average, sometimes your own prediction algorithm, something like that. Okay?
Excuse me.
Yes.
Is this splitting methods part of the map class in Java?
Yes.
Okay.
So all of these are in the, these are the class name. Some of them you directly use, some of them just implicitly use as a default. So you don't have to worry. For example, input format and record reader, so you don't have to directly use. You will see the source code. So I only, yes?
What about suppose in short? That we have to invent our own.
Oh, no, you don't have to. Yeah, that's automatically done. Okay, you will see. Then you can understand. But you need to specify the format. Okay, data type. It's not data type, the object. Okay, the Java, you need to specify the Java object as a class. Okay, like the string or there's some integer. Okay, you will see, if you see the source code, then you will be better understand. We already see that this one. Okay, so this is an input format. So input format class. Okay, that read the data and split by the block. But you don't have to directly use, explicitly use this one. Then also is the text input format is the default one. So if you do not specify, it will use the text input format class will be used. Then what's the main job of this one? Is the segmentify the new line. Okay, so like this output of this one will be key and value. Key is the offset and value is the entire line. Then your job is to manipulate this value depending on your requirement. Yeah. So there are other. If you wanna use your own, if you wanna customize the input file, there are other input format. Key value text input format is the, you can specify the other instead of the new line character. If you have like the semicolon, then you can use this one. So your file is not formatted by the new line, instead it has this one, the semicolon. Then at that time you can use this one. And or sequential file input, and some, if you have the additional information in your data, okay? Not many times you use this one. Most of the time the default, the new line, because our most of the file is the new line. In case your file has something other separator, you can use the key value text input format. All of them are Java object, no primitive. What is a primitive and object?
Into means into like that.
The primitive format is like the int, integer. It's located, the data is located, how can I explain?
Yeah.
So object refer the address. On the other hand, the primitive refer the data itself. That's the difference. Okay? So we do not use MapReduce, do not use such a primitive as a data type. All of them are objects. Okay? So then values are always writable. Writable is also object, so it can be the inside. It will be implemented. Read and write will be implemented. Okay? Then keys are writable, comparable. So writable plus also comparable. What is a comparable in Java?
It's class. Default copy.
What about the real number? As long as you can compare, make the order of the data is a comparable. That makes sense. Otherwise, you cannot actually compare and shuffle the data. So key is the writable comparable. So sometimes, many times actually, even the values is a writable comparable. That make us easier. But it's not required comparable for the value. In that case, if you wanna, sometimes you can exchange the key and value. If your requirement is 1, Okay, you can do that. At the time, this should be writable comparable. Key is a writable comparable, and the value is a writable. And this is kind of data type, but it's not data type, it's not primitive, it's the object provided by MapReduce, the framework. Integer writable, you can easily guess, is for integer data. And the long writable is for long, okay? And the float, double, is the float and doubles in the primitive data type, okay? And text is for string, okay? Mostly this is enough, and also there are additional, but you will see later when you need. Okay?
So,
Yes.
in case of designing our map, we cannot define like the key value as an integer. We should define it as a
Instead, you need to use
int
the
writable,
int writable.
okay, which is a predefined class. in
Yes.
Java. Okay.
So that makes it easier. Otherwise, the MapReduce cannot understand your input and output. So first, the difficulty when you are doing the MapReduce programming is you need to match the input format and output format. And input format, output format, it's kind of a sequence. So you should have the consistency. Otherwise, it will be error when you compile. So writable, comparable, I already explained. Okay, so let's take a look at the driver code first. Driver is kind of, that includes the main class, main method, okay? That usually configure entire job. What is the input file, what is the output file, what is this application job name, and any other configuration. And what is the format of the mapper, what is the format of the intermediate key and value, what is the format of the final output. Okay, so you can specify here. This is the entire code, this page and this page. It's not very complicated. Some of them are very, very intuitive. You can understand. For example, there might be the job class, right? The job is provided by MapReduce. Okay, so MapReduce, the library is a job. You can instantiate the job. Okay, then so method. So you can specify the word count class. That is a mapper. Okay, that you implemented. We will see later. And this is the name of your job. If you do not specify, maybe there, I'm not sure it's a default name. There should be default name. Okay, and so this is a format of the file input format, file output format. Okay, so where is the input file? You can specify. You can see the path of the argument 1, 0 is the, you can see the UC input and output and so on. This is the mapper class and reduce the class. So then this is the intermediate format. This is the final output format. So we will see details later. Then success, it's true, it's a boolean. Then it's done. It's like that. So usually it's a template. Okay, you can specify more the details. Some of them are not mentioned here. They are using the default value. Okay, we will see. Just like the other Java, you need to include import, proper, MapReduce the package. Okay, so as you can see, the path and integer writable and text and the input and output file input format, file output format, and job. Okay, most of the time it's the same thing. If you add more configuration, if needed, you need to include. Okay? If you do not know the what package you need to include, you need to check the documentation. You need to check the documentation details. Okay. Then first, this is the class, the main the method. Okay. The public and static and throw in case of exception, right? We have the two arguments, 1 and 2. So if you do not specify correctly, it will be end. Okay. So first we need to create a job object that can manage the entire your application. Okay. Especially you need to provide the from this later I will explain that this word count dot class should be in your jar file. So later I will show you. So basically we have the three part driver class, okay, and mapper class and the reducer class. So this is the one is the driver itself. Okay, you need to specify that class should inside your jar file. Jar file is archived file, like the zip file. It's a combined. So when we submit the map reduce job, we always submit jar file. Okay, not separately. If you do not specify any other configuration, then map reduce will use the default configuration. That's under etc header conf. It's a common configuration in your server. Okay. So you can specify the job name. Later you can monitor. It takes sometimes hour, it takes sometimes a day or several days. You can submit the multiple job. You want to see how much what is the current process, or how much the mapping, where is the mapping, or the reducing, or you can check with the job name. So input file is the first argument. So input format, file input format set, the input path, and file output format where you write your output file. That's the second. Okay. So default is a text input format, but you can change. We have seen the several other options. Like for example, if I'm not going to use this file does not use the new line character, instead it has the semicolon at the time, you can use the key value text input format. Other. Okay. If you specify the directory only as an input, it will use all the file on the directory. So sometimes it may be possible. So we have the big data in multiple files. So you can put all files into one directory. You don't have to combine. You don't have to add append. Instead, you can just specify the directory only. Okay. Output is the same thing. So for the output format, it can be new line as a default. You can specify the separator for the line by line. So not line at the time, data by data, record by record. You can specify. But most of the time, as far as I know so far, it's a new line character as a default, because we are familiar with. So mapper that you implement and the reducer that you implement should be specified. Then the driver can recognize which one is your algorithm, which one is your mapper, which one is the reducer. Okay, that will be specified here. Then this is an intermediate one. So you need to specify the intermediate output. Why intermediate is important? Because so far the mapper will process several steps, but in the same node, same process, same task tracker, or the same container in the version 2. It will be done in the same. After that, after intermediate form, it will be transferred to the reducer through the network. So this file type should be the same as the others. So you should specify the data format. And this will be input of what? Reducer. So it should be matched. So set, don't be confused. So set mapper's output. Okay, this is a map output, means mapper's output, that means the intermediate. Okay. Then this is the set output. Set output, not map output. Set output is the reducer's final output format. Okay, in this case, the key is the text. Okay, one, key is the text. How many? The. So 3. So that is the value is the integer right there. Okay. Then if that is done, finalize. This is a driver, the final driver code. First mapper. So you already understand the basic mechanism of this one. We will see. So that include the long integer writable, long writable that will be used in this code. So that is the reason we need to import. Okay, and text. So very simple. Let's take a look at this one. So this is the extent, the subclass of the mapper. Mapper is a class. Map is the mapper is already class provide. It has a bunch of the method that already implemented by the Hadoop. Okay, so you don't have to. You can just use such a thing. Okay. Then you need to specify the key value, key value. First two is the input key. Okay, and second key value pair is the output of the mapper, which means intermediate. This one, intermediate format. This one should be matched in the driver also. Okay, so that is the reason designing part is very important. So you need to decide which format, file format, key value format, key format, value format. Then they should be matched in the driver and mapper and reducer. In this case, the long writable, because it's a offset. Offset maybe need the long integer, and the text because it's a text, and the intermediate format is the text plus integer. Okay. This is a map, the method. Okay, this method needs long writable as a key and text value, and context switch context object can be used for the intermediate data. Okay, also it can have the configuration information. Context kind of the text box. Okay. Context kind of the text box. You can put some additional information to the context. Okay. Then line is what? Values string. Values string. This one. Okay. Then for each word, okay, string word. Then how can you get the word? You can split the line. This is a regular expression. Okay. Otherwise, if you do not know regular expression, you need to implement it by yourself. It takes a lot of time. But if you know the word, the regular expression, it's very simple. Just the one line. So it's a split by W means word. Okay. So automatically consider space as the delimiter. Okay. Then, and at the end of the line. So word by word, you